So we're here in the shoeing area with Cody, and our next step is we're going to trim his feet, and our observations are that his feet are pretty good. If you look at his feet, they're nice and solid. There's no cracks in them anywhere. His angles are a little off. That, we want to match the angle of his foot to the angle of his pastern to the angle of his shoulder. And so he's a little long in the toe. Okay, so we're going to reduce that, and just kind of, we'll get our tool there and we'll measure the length of each hoof. And we want to make sure that every hoof is the same length, and we want to make sure that the hooves are the same angle. Okay? Ready? So what Malin's going to do here is he's just going to clean up the bottom of the hoof, and we don't want to carve a whole lot of sole out of there because we want to keep his feet tough and running barefoot. So he's a little off angle. He's going to trim right this lower right here, right, Malin?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So one thing I want to point out, he's cleaned up and trimmed the bottom of the hoof nice and square, and we've tried to follow the natural angle of the horse's leg, of its natural wear. So now he's taking the rasp and going around here and rounding the edges so we won't get any chipping or flaring. Okay. So as a precaution, what we're going to do is we like to treat the bottom of their hoof with either iodine, or this is what we would call copper tox, the thrush buster, and there's all kinds of products out there, but we like to paint the bottom of their hoof with iodine, which we normally do, but it's 10 degrees today and our iodine's frozen, so we're just going to use this stuff instead. But this is just like a good way to sanitize that area and not have any bacteria build up. Another thing we like to do, this horse didn't have shoes on, but if we pulled shoes off, we'll get pine tar and we'll paint the bottom of the hoof, and we'll also get that pine tar and paint over the nail holes to prevent bacteria and moisture from infiltrating those nail holes too. Okay, so you see this is the one we just trimmed, and this is the one right here we're going to trim. So see the difference on how longer that toe is and how nice and square and balanced this one looks. So when we're done, this hoof and this hoof are going to be the same length and at the same angle. So one thing I want to show you all how Malin measures from the hairline down to the floor. Okay, and he goes over there and measures from the hairline down to the floor. So when your man comes out to trim your horse's feet, that's what you need to do to make sure they're the same length. Now you can tell this horse, he toes in a little bit. This foot's a little smaller than this foot. We can tell this horse's feet were really bad at one time, and they've done a good job trying to get him back in shape. All right, now check the angle, Malin. So we've got a tool here that we use. Might be best to come around this way, that we check the angle of the hoof. So you see right here, it'll read what the angle is. What is it?
55.
That's 55 degrees. All right, let's go check the other one.
Right there.
55. Okay, so we've got both hooves in the front matched up at 55 degrees. So the key point there is you can look at our chart. See how on our chart the different angles of these feet, same horse, okay? You want them all to match, because if one's 55 and one of them's 50, so say that one's 50 and that one's 55, let's say, that horse is not going to travel smoothly. He's going to get sore. So that's a very, very important thing to keep an eye on. All right, so we've trimmed Cody's front feet. Both angles are 55 degrees. We've got his hooves the same length. We've checked the bottom of his feet, and we've cleaned up around his frog. We've coated the bottom of his feet with copper tox. You can use iodine. You can use formaldehyde. You can use pine tar. There's a lot of things you can put on the bottom of their hoof, but we like to do that to toughen their feet up when they go barefoot. So we're going to trim his back feet here. We're going to go eat our lunch, and then we'll come back and we'll put him under saddle for the first time.